what runs through the greater sciatic notch? The sciatic muscle. No. It was only last week that you learned about the sciatic nerve. Forget it that quick. It runs down through here. Here's the acetabulum. This is lined, of course, with hyaline cartilage, because you don't want the head of the femur rubbing on the, you know, the acetabulum of the, so you got cartilage on this thing. So all this bone, sort of the top portion of this bone right up here, oh, yeah, I got to point something out to you. But anyway, all this sort of top portion up here is this bone, the ilium. But see, look at this little picture. So we got three bones, the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis. So about half of the whole structure, probably more or less, is the ilium. And then the other half is split roughly, you know, 50-50 between the ischium and the pubis. So when you're looking at the ischium and the pubis, you're not, don't be looking up here, right? We're looking now down here. So the top portion of the bone is the ilium. The ischium, the pubis is actually the front bone, and the ischium is actually the bone you sit on. And so, because there's a joint right here, we'll get to it next week, called the pubic symphysis. This is the pubic bone. This is the joint between our two pubic bones. And this is a joint that actually does expand a little bit when the head of the baby goes down through here. Right? This actually can expand. This, by the way, we'll talk about this in just a minute. This is a plastic replica of a female pelvis. And the way you know that is this very wide angle here. This angle, there's a name for it, 110 degrees, something like that. Anyway, the angle here is very wide. The other one we got back there is a male, and it's much, this V is much thinner or shorter, right? And for obvious reasons, there's other anatomical differences we'll get to in just a minute. But anyway, so pubis is the front, the ischium is the back, the ilium is all this one up here. A few other features you guys will be looking at tonight. Ischial spine, ischial tuberosity, acetabulum is easy, pubic crest, inferior ramus, superior ramus, ischial ramus. These are all features you can find on any of these bones. Right? Plastic, real, doesn't make any difference. So you should be able to find those on our pubic bones. Here's here's just one that's all put together. And how it works. Okay? And this, to me, when you look at this, when you look at the picture on the screen here, because of this, the rather narrow V-shaped angle here, I bet a lot of money that this is a male, right? Just because this is so, the angle is so shallow. And the sacroiliac joint, where the axial and appendicular skeletons come together, is right along this line. Right there. Right. Oh, I forgot another big hole. This is the acetabulum. Where'd he go? This. But another big hole in here. Right here. Probably get my fingers stuck right here. This big hole is called the obturator foramen. Foramen, big round hole. What you learn next week or the week after next is big muscle. This structure attaches the biggest muscles of the body. Your glutes, you know, your quads, your hamstrings, they all more or less somehow or other seem to end up attaching to one of these bones. So you see lots of like holes and tubercles and spines and stuff like that just because muscles attach there. All right, here we go, pelvic openings. This is a good one. All right, so let's check this out. So, oh, here, I just want to use this. All right, so we go from crest to crest. So from, I can't do this very well, here to here. I should just, you know what I should do is one of these days, maybe I'll do it tonight. Maybe I will do that tonight. I should just like put tape on here, right? Just write on the tape. And that way it would be so, about time I thought of something. Anyway, from crest to crest, across here, it's called the greater pelvis. So basically, here to here, greater pelvis. All right. Now, how about the pelvic inlet and the pelvic outlet and the pelvic brim? Sounds like a hat. All right. Well, the pelvic brim is pretty simple. If you just look at this, the pelvic brim basically kind of just be just the edge, kind of like right here. Would you agree? I mean, kind of right there, right? So it's just sort of right there, pelvic brim. Pelvic inlet, pelvic outlet. Now, from my way of looking at this, I don't see much difference, honestly, between, I know there is, but for you and I, there's not much difference, between the pelvic brim and the pelvic inlet. I think the best way to think about this is the pelvic, describe it, the pelvic inlet would sort of be kind of the top edge, and then just kind of right under the top edge where there's just kind of goes under a little bit, because they just show it just slightly under the brim. This would be the pelvic inlet. So, but for all intents and purposes, as far as I think we need to be concerned, this kind of area right here, right across here, would be the pelvic inlet. The pelvic outlet is an easier one to do. These two spines right here are called the ischial spines. And this, as you can see in the picture right there, the little arrow there points the diameter across there as the pelvic outlet. Now, let's go to boys and girls here. The reason that the pelvic outlet is wider in women, for obvious reasons, you know? Because in natural childbirth and vaginal delivery, the head goes through here. Now you're looking at this and going, yeah, now I get why it hurts so much. Really not made for that, is it? So, inlets and outlets, you know, just the dimensions of the pelvis, right? And if you compare them, they're